Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to SkittleTalk, episode 6, with the Jam Man,
Yay!
with the Jamster.
Hi.
How-
I just say in advance, just ignore the mess.
Ignore
in the
the
background.
mess. It's not too bad.
Yeah, I haven't, let's
What-
just stick my body weight in front of it.
What's been going on? Have you been partying? You've been having
Um,
rights?
Yeah, basically, what I feel like Buster could do with like something else to play with, I get an Amazon delivery, and then when Amazon delivery comes, you get a box, and you get like all sorts of packaging and like a bubble wrap and stuff in it, and then I just give it to Buster, just say,
Just all the
here's a box,
all the packaging.
and then it just ends up everywhere.
Wow.
Okay, here we go.
You're the best. You're the best
Exhibit
dog owner
A.
ever, though. That's great.
This is Exhibit A.
Couldn't he
this is not
choke?
me.
Couldn't he choke on that?
Probably. He'll be alright. I keep an eye on him when he plays with it, so. Kind
Okay.
of.
I just imagine you as a parent, like just wrapping cling foam around the kids' heads. They haven't breathed. They haven't been able to breathe in
Fun.
hours. Why are they blue? Ah, it's just fun, isn't it? Just bit of fun. Just playing on there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Don't
Cool.
say anything on the instruction booklet, not feed to pets.
So you've had time to decompress from Prison Architect.
I haven't played. I have it here. I have not played a single bit of Prison Architect. Oh, well, that's a lie, actually.
Oh my god, you're lying
I
already.
played it. Okay, I played like a little bit.
Just how much is a little
little
bit? Because before
Like
you
a
played
couple of hours.
over 70 odd hours. Okay.
I had to lower the gameplay down slightly. So I played it a couple of hours, like beginning of last week,
Hmm.
and then I haven't played since. So I have kept it to a standard amount. I've gone back to standard gaming, where
Yeah.
you play a couple of hours a night. That's it.
Mm-hmm. So,
Which is-
does it reach a point
it's
where it
difficult.
just starts to get a bit repetitive, or does it
Yeah,
have an
because-
end?
Well, not really. You can just keep building your. Well, really, the end is that whatever your processor is, because it can only support. But basically, the more prisoners you get, the slower your device gets,
Yeah.
and eventually you're just gonna not want to play because it's just gonna be so slow.
Hmm.
So, yeah, you can keep building, and you can like advance your prison by build more areas on it, but there comes to a limit where the device just can't put up with the. You see in the top right, you see a counter that's switching right at the beginning.
Hmm.
Like 1 second is 1 minute on the timer,
Mhm.
but like what it's at the moment, like 1 second is like 20 seconds on the timer. So
Right.
it really does slow down after a while. But generally, when you're building different prisons, they all have the same rooms you can create, just in different ways.
Right.
Obviously that creates variety when like you've got the contraband situation with different areas where different things could get brought in through your prison. But generally you can't play too well. I said that I played so many hours, but you can't play too much for it once because you can't just build one prison and then say, oh, and you know what, I'm going to build a different prison, because it doesn't work like that. You have to
Hmm.
forget about everything and then come back to the game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded interesting for a sort of mobile type game. But that game's actually on consoles as well, isn't it? I think.
As far as I'm
PC
aware,
and
yeah,
stuff?
it is, and on
Hmm.
PC. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it's quite good.
Okay,
Yay.
so aside from Prison Architect, have you been playing anything this week?
Yeah, so I played. I would say I got three categories. I played
Ooh.
GTA 5.
GTA 5. So
That's my open world. Well, kind of. Yeah, that's my open world game. I played a few more missions in it.
So single player campaign as well as
Lots of more
online.
people. No, I haven't played the online stuff. I've just been doing the campaigns, trying to get through the story.
Right.
Just a couple of people keep telling me to buy different games, and I've got to complete this one before I can buy more, because otherwise I'll just end up with loads of games I've never played.
Yeah, that can happen. Yeah, it depends on the
Like when you
game.
buy the super bundles on Steam, and you're like, oh, such a good deal, and then you're at like 50 games that you just never.
Never get around to
Yeah.
playing.
I have a notification. Let's see what it
I
is.
thought you were in an
look,
elevator.
Skittle is-
It's
Oh,
what?
SkittleTalk is streaming. That's good to know.
Oh, good. You better start watching it.
Yeah.
So
What about you?
GTA 5. You got
Oh.
anything? I mean, anything else to
It's just
truth out there, Gunsfire?
yeah. I killed some people.
You kill. Oh my god, there's a truth out there for you.
People ran some people over, and oh my word, I didn't realize this, but you can buy rocket launchers that lock onto things. Like before, when you get caught by the police or you're being chased by the police, you can like walk around and like shoot missiles at the helicopters. But I didn't realize you could buy like a missile launcher that like locks onto the target. So you have to just hover over like a helicopter for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And then it just sucks this little missile that goes.
I don't remember that, but I played it on PS3, and whether they've added some new stuff since then, or maybe it's just so long ago I can't really remember. Like when you're in the
gun store, like it doesn't show up on the wall. You have to like navigate to where it is, and then it allows you to buy it. I think it's like 15,000.
Oh right.
Dollars or something. It's quite expensive.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite cool because you can lock onto like a car that's like basically right. I was coming out of a T junction like this, and I was going like 60 miles an hour. And was like this, but a car was on a green traffic light, went like this and nearly hit me. Like hit the back of my car. My car spun around. So he kept driving, and I got out of my car, got the lock on rocket launcher, locked to his car, and then just watched the missile like chase the car as it goes down and just blow it up.
Right.
It was very satisfying. I just hope there wasn't like a family of 4 in that car. That would have been quite bad.
So you're not really much of a new game player, are you really? So
well, I like to buy new games, but I don't like to spend money when I'm just gonna sit on it.
Good evening, Raxton Raven. Good to see you.
Oh, hello, Mr. Raxton.
And I can see Buster as well, looking for his bubble wrap that you've so carefully hidden from him. I think it's you who plays with the bubble wrap. I think Buster gave it to you.
Yeah, that's right. That's definitely true. Buster bought something on Amazon, but found the bubble wrap, gave it to me as a present, and I've just
definitely
trying to hide it. I really like it, and
yeah. Your camera keeps flashing on and off. By the way, I'm not sure what's going on there. That doesn't really happen. Yeah, it keeps flicking on and off. Strange. Doesn't normally do that.
Cable.
Strange.
Oh.
I don't know. Weird.
I'm looking at myself, so it's not. I don't know.
It's not. Yeah, it's not doing it like all the time. It's just it's done it a couple of times. I've noticed that the corner of my eye. Yeah. So, Gemma is flashing tonight. Oh my lord. It's one way to drive away viewers, definitely. Wow. That's a sight nobody wants to see.
But yeah, I like to finish games before I like just buy those new ones.
I know what you mean,
but there's Hundle bundles and stuff you can buy on Steam.
Yeah.
Like it's nice to have a game, and it's nice to play a game like repeatedly, and it's great when you can find that game that you just want to play on forever and ever and ever. But I haven't really found anything like that grabs my attention that much recently. So I've just been playing. Oh yeah, the other one I've been playing, the Age of Empires, the HD expansion thingamajig.
Yeah. Well, I think for me it depends on the game. I'm definitely better at starting games than finishing them. And it depends on the type of game. If it's heavily story narrative, and I'm really into the story, so you know what I'm gonna say. Yeah, Yakuza 6 is like that game is getting finished, like no doubt, because it's just so immersive, and I'm just so interested in what's coming next, and it's just wow. So I mean, they're basically the two games I've played is Yakuza 6. I won't talk about them just yet, but just to compare the two, Yakuza 6 versus Galgun 2 are completely different types of games. Like Galgun 2 is so insanely like my hands are aching after I played a couple of hours of that I'm like, there's no way I could just play that from like start to finish like I could Yakuza 6, because it's just too intense, like action wise. You wouldn't think so, but it is. It's actually quite intense action wise. So you were doing Age of Empires. This was, what is it? The remake or a remaster or something?
Yeah, it's not remastered. It's just a HD version of it. They have the same like AI and gameplay. Everything's exactly the same, but the campaign has had like a new voiceovers added, and the graphics have much improved, and they've had like a scrolling feature so you can do some stuff.
Yeah.
And also like the feature from the old game, from the newer ones, where you can like see where your idle villagers are. That wasn't in the original, where they added it because it was quite a helpful little thing. But it's the exact same game, the one that was released in 1995.
1950? It was released in 1950 on carbon paper made of twigs, branches, and string. Yeah, that's an old school game.
Exactly, right?
Yeah,
but
I
it's the
don't
exact
know.
same game, but they increased it.
Yeah, you're I try to stay quite current. I mean, God of War. There's only so many new AAA games I can afford to buy those. Well, so I mean, what in the space of 2 weeks, I ended up buying Yakuza 6, which was like 40 quid. Galgun 2, which I think was about 35, and like now I'm just skinned. So, like, I'd love to get God of War, but I just don't have the money right now, and I can kind of wait for that. Because I was never really a big fan of the God of War games anyway. I've not really played them properly. So rather than look for the next thing to spend that money on, you know, I've got games I can finish. I can wait for that one, I guess. You want money, yeah. If you, who doesn't? You know, if you want to give some money up, be my guest. Hey. And yeah, Rax and Raven says, don't I mean jailbait gun too? Can't really argue with that, you know. It's for Waifu Wednesday. What can I say? So, I do like my Japanese games. Have you got anything else to say about the Age of Empires? I mean, it's an old game with a fresh coat of paint, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's the exact same game as the previous one. It's just like you say, they've increased the graphics, the AI and everything's just as derpy as before. And in the game, they've got like a square grid of like your character's got like a square little base where it sits on. And then your character, whereas in the newer ones, you can like squish like 100 units like on top of each other. But in this game, they have the little square, and you can't, like, if the square gets caught like a little bit on the edge, they can't go past each other, and it's weird. But it's old, and we appreciate for what it is. But it's still quite a fun game. I'm enjoying it.
Touching a buns could do with a 4-slot toaster. Well, you could touch more buns, right? More buns for toast more buns. Yeah, toasty. I like that.
There's another game I've been playing. I played a bit yesterday and a bit the day before, but I played loads and loads of hours of it like a couple of weeks ago. It's called Transport Fever. Can you bring this up on the Twitch?
It's called Transport what?
Transport Fever.
Fever. Yeah, Fever. Yeah, let me just get my Steam. Is it on Steam?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So tell us about Transport Fever.
So, Transport Fever. Oh, let me just go. Why are you Googling not? Fever. I don't know how to spell it.
Is it like a Transport Tycoon type thing?
Yeah.
It's like a transport management thing.
Yes, it is. So
yeah.
Why are you not loading, you stupid ass? There we go. So Transport Fever is a game where you have to rely on let's say the what I'm looking at here, my finger. This is your playing area.
Building roads and railways and stuff. That actually looks quite interesting, to be fair.
So basically, really you have
big into those games,
different areas in your I don't know. Let's say you got the UK in front of you. You've got like 100. Let's say you got about 15 to 20 towns. Okay, and each town has different minerals. So one town might have coal next to it. One might have iron. Might have livestock. Might have fuel. Different things like that, right? So in order to boost, in order to make money in the game, you rely on people in your towns, the population growing, right? And how do you grow the population? Well,
making babies. That's how.
Making babies. So you're also increasing the industry, which gives more money into the local town. So, for example, let's say one town has, it has a local area, it's got coal next to it. So, but another town over the other place wants to create iron, for example. Like I don't know, like mechanicalized iron, right? So you would need to get two towns, one that's got iron ore, and then one that's got fuel. So you would basically create like a train track, for example, from one town that's got the iron ore to the town that's got the iron, and then you get another train track from one town that's got fuel, and you take that to the one that wants to create the iron.
Okay, but so like getting resources from A to B as well as managing.
Yeah.
So do you transport people as well? Like,
yeah, so you can do two. So at the beginning of the game, you have to do industry because that's just the way you have to start. And you can do a couple trains that run between like different towns and villages to increase the population and stuff like that. But the main thing is that industry in your area. So
hey, a love train would increase the population. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Get some
I hate to
Arabian
sell that.
pillows, you know, some Persian furs, nice some incense burning, you know, get them in the mood. Then you increase the
Have a love
population.
cart at the back of the train and just be like, right, love making happens there. Increase
Bang
our
bus, you want the bang
population 'cause
bus
it's so low.
rolling. You want that bang bus rolling through town, definitely.
Yeah. So basically, you got the different so far you got 3 different towns that
Okay.
all have 2 towns that have the ore, the raw product, and then you have 1 town that's creating iron.
Okay.
So you have this iron that then you need to create with, I don't know, water, for example, and then you need to mix the two together to create something else. But water needs to be pumped out from somewhere else. So you end up with a web of like 15 different cities. Every single one of them has a different mineral or a different base resource, and each different town requires different amounts of each of those resources in order to increase production. So you'll end up with a train that goes like from one village, cuts through one village, drops off like half its load, then goes to another village, drops off another bit, and then goes to another village, drops off another bit. So basically, in order to increase production of one line of product, so let's say you want to create meat, you have to increase hay production, food production, and water production. So then you end up with, that's 4 different towns, all trying to get one output. And then once you've increased food, you can then ship that food to a city or to your little town, and that increases the population. So the goal is you increase the industry, which then creates the end product, and then you ship the end product to the people in that town that increases the population.
So it sounds more like a business simulator, really, that just is about transporting your resources and things between towns. Is that a fair judgment of it?
Well, you can't really change the price of the actual stuff that you're shipping, but the issue is that you end up with so many different different cities and so many different lines. You have to make them profitable, because the other thing that this game works on is time. So you start off at, like, I don't know what year it starts off at, but like the 1700s, when trains were first coming around, and they were like horse and carts and stuff riding around on the train. So you'll end up shipping resources from one place to another using horse and cart. As you progress in the game, the time increases. So over time, you'll end up in like the year 1900s, and then the year 2000, and then the year 2015, or whatever it is, right? But as the years go on, you get new technologies, and older technologies die out. So you'll buy, for example, let's say you have ore creation from one point. Obviously, right at the beginning, you can't just have a train line going from one place to another. So you start off with horse and cart. So you'll want to start moving iron ore from one place to another using horse and cart, right? But let's say as the time goes on, it gets like 20 or 30 years, it gets 20 years ahead of that. Well, why would you use a horse and cart when you've now got access to a car or something like that? But obviously, a horse and cart costs less to run than a car does. So although you increase production, as in you get to your destination faster, it also costs more money to run that particular vehicle from one place to another.
Yeah.
So when you increase production even more, and you want to get a massive amount, you'll create like a train line from one place to another. But at the same time, those trains cost insane amounts of money. But unless you're creating the produce at the same time from one place to another to counteract that profit,
it's not economically viable unless you transport and stuff.
So like I said, you don't start making money until you get that end product. So if you're just moving iron ore from one place to another, you're not going to start making money. So that whole trip from one to another, you're not making any profit on it. So you're going to make sure that you're inputting in enough production being carried by profit-making like means of transport to your hub, and then move the hub to wherever it's got to be sold to sell it. Like, for example, in some parts of it, you end up building like electric trains, but the train costs like $2.3 million to run, but you're only making like $100,000 of passengers going backwards and forwards, so it's not economically viable. So there's just no point in running it. So you have to really be careful with the different routes that stuff is taking. Like, I try to create a bus system running from one town to another to try and increase, so to allow population to move around in the map, therefore increasing the rest of the towns and villages and making money from tourism, right? But the problem was that the buses weren't picking up enough. There wasn't enough interest. I put enough buses on the route to ship people from one to another, but people just weren't interested in going there. So you'll end up spending way more money on transport than it even costs to run it. You're not making any profit out of it. So you'll end up
like Rox and Raven says, there is basically a logistics simulator. With involving transport. Just to go back on what you were saying as well, because you said you started saying, when the first railways and when trains first came about. Interesting little fact for you. The very first railway that was ever built is from my hometown, Stockton to Darlington. So I'm from Stockton. And that was the very that's what my little town's famous for. Two things: famous for inventing the birth of the railway, they call it, because the very first ever passenger rail was built between Stockton and Darlington, and also the inventor of the matchstick also came from Stockton as well. So a little historical fact there for you. Yeah,
that's amazing.
We actually have in celebration of that, because there's not much else to celebrate where I'm from. To be fair. You know how sometimes on little roundabouts they'll have like little, displays or whatever. On one of our roundabouts, there's just a giant matchstick to celebrate it. It's like, that looks ridiculous.
I want you to get a picture of that and put it on the stream.
I should. I will. I'll ask my mom to take one or something, and we'll get it to send. Actually, you can probably Google it. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if it's still there. Knowing from my hometown, Yobs probably nicked it not long after it was put up. This is gonna. What can I say?
But yeah, one thing that's quite interesting about this game is that
Stockton. If it's gonna come up, that should bring it up. No, I don't think it is. No, I don't think that is bringing it up.
Okay. Yeah, but one thing that's quite good is that the fact that because time keeps traveling on, as you're going through the game. So, for example, let's say 10 years after you first build your 10 horse and cart units, the maintenance cost as whatever it is, whatever transport thing it is you're using. So whether it's a train, whether it's a car, whether it's a bus, whether it's whatever horse and cart, everything gets a maintenance cost. So as the years go on, that unit that you built, the longer it's on the road for costs more to run. So for example, I've had some difficulties when you're going through Transport Fever. So for example, you'll reach a new age, so let's say 1950s, and in 1950 you unlock a new train. Right? This train costs 1.3 million per year to run, but your existing train only costs 200,000 to run. Right? But at the moment, when that's all you need, you don't need any more stock running from one place to another, so you're not going to make profit on it. But at the same time, that train becomes slower and it costs more to run, so you'll end up finding that it's costing more like 500,000 to run because it's like 40 or 50 years old by this point. So you end up getting difficulties where you have to increase production because you're now the only train you can actually buy and put on the track is this new one that costs like $1.2 million. But it's like how the actual technology grew. Obviously, a certain amount of people will grab onto a new technology and say, yes, I want to use it, or I'm willing to invest in that particular technology. But at the same time, there's the type of people who are like, well, why don't I just use what I've been using for 20 years instead of using this new updated technology? So at the same time, when Transport Fever, you can be using one particular train that costs X amount to run over time, but then new technologies come out, and the only option, so to buy more of those particular trains, you have to pay like 3 or 4 times the amount of money to run that train. So forces you to increase production, therefore making your towns bigger and going further in the game. So it's a way of like forcing
pushing
you to
you
actually
forward.
Progress.
Yeah, it's like
because you can't just stick with because right at the beginning of the game you can buy a train that's like £2,000 to run, but if you think about it, in the 21st century, they don't use trains anymore that cost £2,000 to run. They use like electric trains or diesel trains nowadays because they're more efficient and stuff like that. But they still cost a hell of a lot more than they used to, than the older ones. But it's just that they counteract that with the money that they make using the transport to make it viable.
It's also a little bit. It's just basic economics as well from the industries that make these things. It's like if you think about it, it's like what we do for our technical support. So if we discover that a product is faulty and we say get it repaired, the older that product is, the more expensive it is to repair because they don't make parts for it anymore. So it's cheaper just to get a new one, and that's that's by design. That's completely on purpose. It's probably the same thing in transport industry and whatnot.
Yeah, but yeah,
it looks interesting. I'd play that. I'd check it out.
Many different ways to to do stuff, and I ended up creating. I deleted the picture quite a while ago, but I'll show you on my iPad.
It doesn't have multiplayer. I take it now. It doesn't have multiplayer.
No, it doesn't. No, it's just single player. But like, if my iPad is this, if my tablet is the map, for example, I basically got paint and had like there were like lots of different like towns and stuff across my map, and I literally spent 20 minutes on paint, right, drawing lines from one place to another to try and figure out, because all I wanted to do was create. I can't remember what it was. Let's just say it was, I don't know, electronics, right? To make electronics, you need like 20 different things from different towns. So I had to create an economically viable transport route using 20 different towns and had them all interlinking at the same time with the same amount. So if I had one train that was coming from a coal
that sounds
mine,
too much like work rather than gameplay to me.
Yeah, but it was quite fun because one coal mine, for example, was producing, let's say, 20 coal, and you have another mine that creates like 15 ore, right? But 20 ore and 20 coal equal, I don't know, 20 I don't know, whatever produce, right? So then you have to increase the amount of carriages on your iron line to keep up so that it's 2020, so that when they both pump into the same place, that they're outputting the same amount, because you don't want produce just building up because you're inputting more of it. So when you end up with 7 different lines or more going to two or three different places, you need to make sure that the output coming from all of those different places is exactly the same, so that it all ends up the same. So when it gets to those particular manufacturing plants and then goes to the final place where you're creating electronics, that you don't have a shortage of one product and one isn't waiting for the other one at the same time. And it's quite fun. I enjoyed it. Like I say, it takes many hours, and it's a game that takes a very long time to really get it right. And I wouldn't say I succeeded at the game because my villagers didn't exactly grow much than I've seen on some videos where they've grown really big. But just having on the map, can you bring up a Google image of see if you can pick up like Google like Transport Fever maps or something, because when you see the amount of different villages and the different ores and stuff that they can create, and then trying to get all of them to one particular place and then output that to a town it's quite fun. I enjoyed it. It takes a little while to kind of figure out, like you say, the logistics behind it. But when you finally get like 20 trains all working at the same time, all being profitable and all outputting like electronics to a particular town, success. It feels quite good.
Yeah, I think it's definitely more your kind of game than my kind of game, to be fair. Let me just bring it up. Yeah, I mean, to answer Rax and Raven's second question there, I am going to come back to your first one. It's just that it's off topic, so I'm going to wait. Yeah, these are the maps that are showing up. Is that the bottom of the British Isles? It looks like it. Yeah, there's definitely like Britain. Is that it?
It's lagging on the
train fever. Yeah, you'll have a bit of a delay. I did put Transport Fever map, but I don't know.
Yeah, so the one with the UK, like you see all these little white and brown specks. All of those are different cities, all different towns. But then, for example, let's say that you can create London, for example, in the main part of it, and you can have all of your production going to one place, so you'll increase the population in one area, therefore boosting the town and boosting the money you get from it. But the one thing I could never work out was transport from within the city to different places within it, because you could build like tram lines, but it's this whole tech innovation thing.
That's basically Sorry to interrupt though. The map that I'm looking at the moment, that's pretty much how Newcastle was built. It's like basically a giant spider web. Everything all leads to the centre. That's pretty much how that's.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because I actually went to university there. Yeah, it's pretty much like that.
Oh, that's quite cool.
Jamster might like Black Desert Online, though. Rack says. Oh yeah, sorry, I still didn't answer your second question. Yeah, so I'm not a fan of micromanagement in games. Then, so my first game I ever played with Jamster, he's like, oh, everyone's going round mine to play Age of Empires. So I'm like, okay, I've heard of it, never played it, downloaded it, played through the tutorial, thought, oh my god, I'm gonna be terrible at this, and just these guys were just like streets ahead of me. It was ridiculous. And I was just struggling.
Well, not really. Sam had only played the game for 3
No,
or
but I
4
mean,
days.
he's streets ahead of me in what he'd managed to do in the time that we were playing for. That's what I mean. So I was just like, I was just getting, I don't know, wooden houses built and, teaching my men to urinate, not in the stream where they eat the fish. Like, you know what I mean? Practically getting that far. You guys had like spaceships flying around and boom, and, empires and skyscrapers. And I was like, yeah, not very good at this. That's just, I'm just not good at those games.
That just goes to show how much. Yeah, I don't think there was airplanes or skyscrapers, but I get where you were coming from. Yeah, we were ahead of you. We didn't kill you though. At least we were, respectful.
Well, yeah, I know, but then that made it. Then I was like, well, what's the point? It's just like, you guys are clearly not attacking me because I don't stand a chance. Right, and then when eventually I was like, okay, come and get me, and then you just wiped me out in 10 seconds. I was like, well, that was pointless. Like, I don't know. I mean, could I get good at a game like that? Maybe, but I just don't really enjoy it enough to want to keep at it to get good at it, if that makes sense.
There's no story or anything like that, which is the kind of games that you like doing.
Yeah, it's definitely just not my kind of thing. I mean, I would have a little dabble with that, don't get me wrong. I'm curious to see how it all fits together. I will play any game just to learn mechanics and see how it sort of works briefly. But some games, once it's unfolded its ID to me, and I'm like, wow, this is gonna. If I feel like this is gonna take a lot of getting into, and I don't feel like it's rewarding enough, then I'll just be like, nah, I'd rather do something that I'll get a better satisfaction from. Obviously, because there's just too many games out there. Now I kind of want to see Skip play Civ 6. I should do it at some point, just for the hell of it. Just it'd be hilarious, probably watching me try and play a game.
I would definitely watch that.
I'd probably have to speed it up to 30 times though, because otherwise you'd just be staring at me going, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah, like a 1 hour game, which is like a 20-hour game, and you're just like,
just like what do they call it when time lapse videos where you see the clouds in the sky and time is I'll do a time lapse video for you of me playing Civ 6 over 30 days and you'll probably see me get the basics. Can I go back? I want to go back and answer Rax and Raven's question. Did I ever love a game just for its games, mechanics, and gameplay? Well, I've been thinking about that since you asked it, and I was like, did I? Am I? Because I am very story orientated. But then I thought, well, when I first started playing games weren't really that story orientated. But I guess I've always been into stories, so I want to take you back to the days when I first started playing video games.
Portal 2, that's all I have to say.
On the Commodore, well, I never really played Portal that much. But I had a Commodore Amiga as my first... Well, it wasn't actually my first gaming console. I actually had an Atari 2600 before then and a Vectrex before then. But the Amiga just, I don't know, it was just... Oh, it just grabbed me. And there was a game on there called Lemmings, right? Now, these are older games, obviously, so these aren't really story-based. And I don't know if you know about Lemmings, but I'll show you some gameplay. This was basically... These little guys would just walk backwards and forwards. So if there was a cliff, they would just fall off the cliff. And your job, you had like a digger and a stop guy, and you had to click on them and get them to the exit. So this was the first level. It was dead easy. You dig through this, and then all the lemmings will fall down there and go into the exit. And as you can imagine, as you go further on, the levels got a little bit harder and a little bit harder. So this is all purely mechanics, but this game was great. I was addicted to this game. It was always so fascinating. This one, you have to give them all little umbrellas because the fall will kill them otherwise. So you just got to time it and make sure you give them all umbrellas. You can change the speed they're going out and stuff like that. So that was an Amiga 500. Then there was a Pinball Fantasies and Pinball Dreams on the Amiga, which I definitely loved for their mechanics.
Let
me do Fantasies. Fantasies was better. Which you can actually get now on the iPhone. Somebody's remade it on the iPhone. That was the intro music. All Commodore Amiga games. Here we go. Partyland, that was a great table. Now, obviously, the mechanics is just the same as a normal pinball table, so I don't know how much you can really give credit to the video game for that, but, they were good, especially for back then. Those ball physics were pretty impressive for a machine that had less than 1 megabyte of memory. Can I just say that? It had 700... No, actually, mine did have 1 megabyte, but it ran on a 720k floppy disk. You try and make a game on 720k.
1 megabyte of memory.
1 megabyte of memory the Commodore Amiga 500 had, and it could do all of this.
Can't even see a picture with 1 megabyte of memory.
No, not these days. It had
That's insane.
4,096 colours, which was amazing for back then. 4,096 colours was like blow you away.
4,906.
4,096. Yeah, you could have 256 shades of red,
how many colours
green,
are there now?
and blue. 64 million.
Colours is quite...
Well, 16-bit. Yeah, 16-bit has 64 million, so we're probably higher than that now. Because I think most things are like 32 and 64-bit. Okay. Yeah, 16-bit is 64 million colours on a PC.
Oh my word.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
It is a lot.
Why do we need that many colours?
And but as for modern games, I was like, well, are there any games that I only like just for the mechanics? Now, I'm not good. You know, I'm lying to you when I say this in a way, but I'm also telling you the truth. Dead or Alive 5. Now, obviously, I'm not saying there's nothing else to appreciate in this video game, as I'm sure you'll see if you're not familiar with it, because you know me all too well. You've seen Waifu Wednesday. But what I will say is I really do appreciate, and I'm not really even a big fighter fan, but I really do appreciate the whole sort of rock, paper, scissors. Let me just get some gameplay up. Yeah, the way that you have high, medium, and low, and then you have block, throw, and punch. And the way you've got to sort of read your opponent, and you can counter, and you can throw, and I don't know, I do love the mechanics. And obviously every character has their own moveset, and it's just, I don't know. This is one game that I do really love for the mechanics. And there's also other things.
If you just put into Google
I think this is just
Dead or Alive 5, I can clearly see why you like it.
I think that's just the story mode. Oh no, there you go. There's some fighting for you. Minus the boobies. Because there are male characters as well. But nobody plays this game for the male characters. And anyone who does, I'm like, what? Why not just play Mortal Kombat or something?
Why would you do that?
But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the game lured me in, not necessarily through its mechanics because I hadn't played it, but I do think the mechanics are really good, and I think it's a really well polished game. So there you go. I hope that answers your question. Just to see Skit run around happy because he just got his first night, only to be nuked out of existence by Gandhi. What? Back in the day when games sometimes had audiobooks longer than the actual game, I started out with an Amiga 2. Oh, cool, man. So you know. Yeah, I remember
when
here.
When did Amiga 2 come out?
Here in the UK.
When did the Amiga 2 actually come out?
The Amiga 500. Well, yeah. That's a good question. Let me think. How old was I? I think I was 11. That's a very good question.
Yeah, see, I don't think I was walking at that point. Wait, when did you start walking?
Back in the UK. So okay, it was actually released in 1987, but it was later than that when I got one.
1987. I wasn't even a thing.
1987. It was originally released with a Motorola CPU at 7.16 megahertz. Actually, ours was less because we were PAL. So we had only 7.09. Oh my god, it had even less memory than I thought. It had 512 kilobytes of memory, at least the original one. But I remember mine had 1 megabyte. I do remember mine had 1 megabyte. I think mine was like a second generation Amiga 500 or whatever. Yeah, because there was a 500 plus as well, but mine was definitely the 500. So yeah, it was amazing. That computer, just talk about nostalgia. So yeah.
Wow,
showing my age now. Showing my age.
Yeah, because I'm looking at that and I'm like, yeah, that's what dinosaurs used back in the day.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. But oh man, you'd be amazed what we could do with that thing. It was just incredible what you could do with it. And PCs were so far behind for such a long time. It took PCs a long time to catch up with what the Amiga could do. But I watched the documentary on it, so I know the reason why. It was because of the way that it rendered images. It had this like special chip for doing it. I think it was called like a rasterizer thing or something. It was pretty revolutionary. Yeah, but I remember in the UK it was always Amiga versus Atari ST, and it was like, so talk about the console wars of today. You know, it's like PS4 versus Xbox. Back in my day with the Amiga 500, it was Amiga versus Atari ST, and nearly all my friends had an Amiga, and the couple who had an Atari, it was just like, get him, beat him up, he's an Atari. It was hilarious. But I thought they were an inferior machine, but they were pretty similar in terms of what they could do as well. But yeah, so that was definitely
4K video, 4K, 4K on one of those, you're gonna get like
No, you couldn't.
0.0001 frames per second.
The resolution for the Amiga was 320 by 200, I think, and that was on your TV.
That's not too bad.
No, that wasn't too bad. And even though it had 4096 colors, you could only have 64 colors on the screen at once. But there was 4096 variations of color that you could have. But you had to set a palette at a maximum of 64 colors. And they did a lot with that.
Each bit of your screen have a different color. Okay, Buster, lay down. You're annoying me now. Right. Okay. Each bit of the screen have a different color.
Well,
to show the maximum.
It had a color palette that it stored in its memory. So you use this thing called Deluxe Paint, which you could make like art and graphics and stuff on it, and even animations. I used to make cartoons with mine, and the most number of color spaces you could have was 64. So for that entire animation, like for that entire chunk of memory, so the file or whatever it was in a game, it would have been any one section of gameplay or whatever. So in any game, at any anything on the screen at one time would have to be limited to 64 colors, and they did some pretty interesting things with that limitation, but still made some amazing stuff. But yeah, even back then, just to go back to saying, I am a story oriented game, my favorite games were Monkey Island 2, all the LucasArts games, ones with story and characters. I just felt like I was in an interactive movie, and as soon as I started playing games like that, I was like, wow, this is my kind of game. So yeah, I think it shows in the games that I like now is that I'm less about sort of the competitive, I'm going to beat you or your score, or I'm going to, and more about, I want to know what's going to happen next. I want to know who this character is. I want to know what world I can explore. And that's definitely sort of carried on through into my sort of adult life, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because for me, I would say, like, it's good to have a good story game. But at the same time, if it's not, like, I like games that kind of make you, like, think a little bit. Like, you have to, like, for example, Watch Dogs, right? It's like an open world game, kind of like GTA. But at the same time, the whole point of, well, first of all, it had, like, server rooms and all of that kind of cool stuff in it, because that was awesome, obviously. But at the same time, you have to kind of solve problems and to complete missions and stuff like that. Which I found quite fun. But yeah, I think, like you say, the storyline. Well, I don't know. For me, if the story is good and the main gameplay is good, but I don't like games where you're just playing it. Like, that sounds weird when I say it, but what I mean is that if you're playing a game but you can't really lose. Like, you don't really have to try hard to actually win.
See, that's less important to me now, because somebody was talking about this recently. I can't remember who it was on YouTube, and they were saying that I think it was it was a game designer. I can't remember which game it was, but they were talking about how a lot of modern games play themselves these days, and like they don't really let the player make too many mistakes, and they keep them a little too safe, and they wanted to sort of push that away a little bit and go back to like old games were a lot harder. Those games on the Amiga, I didn't finish. The only games I finished ever on the Amiga was those story games, the point and click adventure games. I never beat any mechanical based game because I just got bored too quickly. It was like, I don't like doing the same thing over and over and over again. I don't really have that desire to get really good at something repetitive. I'm not a big fan of repetition, and I think that's why. But they were hard, they were hard because they had to keep you. Well, first of all, they started off in arcade machines, so they wanted to get you to keep putting that money in the arcade machine, like your Pac-Mans and your Bubble Bobbles and Space Invaders and all that. And then when they went on to like people's TVs and in the home, they mirrored that basically. What?
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Buster was playing with himself. He's like flipping.
Oh my god! This is a family show, goddammit. Well, I never said that.
They're not like that. Playing with himself as he was like laying upside down and doing some weird flips and
right. I was going to say. I thought you meant he was getting frisky. Have you ever played Rodland on the Amiga? Still haunting me that I never managed to even getting close to finishing that. Rodland? No, I don't think I have. Let me have a look. It doesn't even sound that familiar.
Yeah, have you played anything else apart from that?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. There's a couple of games I want to talk about.
Okay.
I just want to see this Rodland that Raxon Raven has mentioned. Oh, I've not heard of this actually. Rodland. Oh, I've not actually seen that.
Oh my word! Guess what happened?
Oh wow! It's like a little platformer. I probably would have liked that.
Guess what happened today when I went to Sainsbury's?
What?
Like a few days ago, I lost my credit card. I lost my debit card. And so just today, I went on my phone and I just like replaced it. Like ordered another one. But I didn't realize that it would cancel the one.
Oh, your existing one.
To Apple Pay. And so I went to buy a sandwich and the meal deal thing where you can buy like 3 bits of food.
Yeah.
And then I went to the till and I was like, it's not working. Why is it not working? And then the lady, like one of the people came up to me and they're like, oh, I think there's a problem with our machine. So she cut me in front of like 10 other people who were waiting in line at the counter. And here was me like, not working. And then it clicked in my head. I was like, damn it! I already cancelled the card. Maybe it cancelled it on here as well. and then I didn't say anything, and so she was like, right, we'll try one more time. And so she moved me over to another counter. Still, all these people behind me. Nothing happened. Still nothing happened. And then I was like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to put it back on the shelf then. And so I did the walk of shame, and I had to walk out of the store because I only had like 70p on me. And then I went back to work and got a packet of crisps out of the vending machine.
Yeah, well, that's weird because I had a similar thing. I left my debit card on the ironing board and picked up my gift card that I'd already spent the money on by mistake because I was in such a rush this morning. So then I get to work and I'm like, oh my god, I don't have my bank card. And I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do? I don't have any money for lunch. She's like, oh my god, it was just ridiculous. I had to borrow money off Hell's Fiction actually of all. Of all the people, I had to borrow money off of Hell's Fiction just to get, and then I ended up having to get painkillers instead of food because I had a headache, and I was like, oh my god, it's the worst day ever. Yeah, not very good. Right, so okay, let's go back to what I've been playing. So I'll talk about Yakuza 6 because I played so much of it. I did say a lot about this game already.
Can I say one thing? Last time you didn't complete any of the side missions. And you were explaining like how the story works.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. Yeah, I want to talk about
that. Okay.
So that's one thing. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put. Why the heck not? Why not just play one of my? I'm gonna put some gameplay on. I'll put my gameplay on. Why not? Where is my gameplay? How do I get my channel up? They moved it. It used to be over on the left, and now it's over here. They keep moving things and it confuses me. There you go. There's my latest one. So, okay, I tried to find some side missions, and then I started to realize there aren't really any side missions in this game like there was in the last one. What it tends to do is you'll be going about your gameplay normally, tracking down, like following your main objectives, and there are two things that have replaced side missions, I guess. One of them is just as you're walking around or going from A to B, somebody will like come up to you. Like there was this crazy girl who claimed to be the girl who leapt through time, and it was a bit of a like an Easter egg on an actual like manga anime, live action film. They made a whole series of things called The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. So it was obviously supposed to be a bit of a, shout out to that. But there's no mission involved, there's no gameplay. And this is where I sound like I'm a bit of a bit contradictory because, I'm mainly drawn in by story and everything else. But what was great about Yakuza 0 is they were the most interesting side missions. You would go and you would meet people and you would suddenly discover that, I don't know, my girlfriend's been cheating on me, or so-and-so's up to something, go and spy on them for me, go and beat up these thugs who are harassing my kid, and the little kid who was like, oh, go and win me this toy in the thingy or I'm going to cry, and all these weird things. And it was just great because it was like, you still had to go and do these things, and then they would, the stories would be the rewards for doing these things.
Yeah.
Whereas this is just like, here's a chunk of story. You're not going to participate. It's just going to like feel a little out of place from your normal daily life, and then it's just going to go away. And I was like, Okay. And I'm thinking, well, what about these phone things? So there are these phone things that come up called Troubler, which is supposed to be like the equivalent of a Facebook or something within the game. And you'll get these messages on your phone saying, "Oh, there's a bunch of thugs in the park. Someone's being ran over, or thugs are harassing so and so." But all it is just basically
all pleasant things.
Eh?
All pleasant things going on.
Yeah, well, it's obviously a Yakuza game. And it's all crime in the city, but it's just more of a like, okay, find the bad guys and beat them up. And I'm like, yeah, but there's no character or story linked with that. So it's almost like they've separated the story and the gameplay. Right. And put them in two separate things. One of them, the story extra bits are not even optional. You can't even skip them, even if you wanted to. So you don't have to go and look for them or find them. They're not rewards for anything. They just come in and kind of interrupt the flow of the gameplay. And I'm like, I don't like that. It doesn't feel right. It's like if I choose to go and do a side mission because maybe I'm struggling with the main mission or I fancy a break from the main mission, that's great. I want to have the choice to do that. But if I'm like, oh, let's find out what's going on with this main quest line right now, and then all of a sudden this girl like interjects and is like, yo, what year is this? Excuse me, blah blah, and it's going on and on and on. I'm like, stop it. What are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want this now, and you're not going to ask me to do anything. And so I want to complain about that. I think they've made a mistake there. I think they've kind of crippled one of the good things that was great about Yakuza 0. And I don't know whether it was their attempt to westernize the game a bit more or what, but I think that was a really bad choice. I think it interrupts the game flow, and just, like I say, it's almost like they've separated story from action, and rather than integrate them, which is what's great, I think, they've just delivered all the story in one go, and then action things that you can go and beat up these thugs that randomly, and it's all the time. I mean, literally, you can't walk 12 steps in the city without your phone going off again saying, oh, there's thugs over here to beat up now, go and take care of them. And I'm like, no, leave me alone. I don't want to do that because it's just not fun. And I'm like, what's the point? I suppose if you want to level up and grind and, you're only interested in being the biggest, strongest Yakuza you can be, then you might feel like it's worth doing that, but it would get pretty boring pretty quickly, I think. And I think that's what breaks it up. That's what makes it less boring, is if you can be leveling up. That's what I love about Japanese RPGs, you get to level up whilst either traversing this huge world like Final Fantasy X, or you get to meet characters and unlock stories whilst you're battling and leveling up. So it's just a nice, breaking up from all the action and breaking up from all the story and mixing it together nicely.
It's just something different.
I feel like they've bundled it all together and put them too close to each other, and it's
I like how you were whacking a guy. Like, you just knock the guy to the ground, and then you walk over to the side, you pick up a bicycle, and then you smack him
here,
with it.
Right here is an example. This is a sub-story. It comes up sub-story. So I'm walking out of the building trying to do the next thing I've been told to do. And this guy, look at him. I can't even skip this. This guy's just like, oh, you know what I mean? I've always been a big fan of you, and I'm gonna beat you in a fight, and I'm gonna get stronger than you. You watch out. You know what I mean? And it's like,
oh, it just forces you into it when you don't really want it.
What are you doing? No, but you don't even fight him. This all goes on for about, I don't know, 6 minutes. Long dialogue, and it's like, well, I don't know. It's just like, it's almost like a cutscene, and it's like, I can handle the cutscenes interrupting the gameplay if they're delivering the main narrative to me. But when they just interrupt with no choice in between me trying to do what I'm supposed to do, it just feels like an inconvenience, Yeah. It's just weird. It ruins the pacing.
Story, it's just wasting your time.
It's pacing. I think that the worst thing that it does is it really ruins the pacing of the entire game. I think it's...
Yeah, because like, you're running out of that building looking forward to do the next thing, and then all of a sudden you're stuck here. You're like, right, let me go get something.
Yeah, it just ends up being irritating, and you just kind of twiddling your fingers while these scenes are coming on and thinking, okay, when's it going to end? You know what I mean? When do I get back to the actual game? It's almost like being like, when you're watching your favorite show and the adverts come on and you're like, I guess I'll make a cup of tea then. It feels a bit like that. It's like, okay, one of these again. So I don't know. I think that was a bad move on their part. When a mission turns into a virtual novel.
Yeah, it's just...
Yeah.
I could see that being very, very annoying because I hate it's like me with quick time events. Like I wanna like look, I can see a bridge, or I'm falling off a cliff or something, whatever it
Mm.
is, like Tomb Raider. I'm currently falling down a hill. Why do I need to double tap X 100 times to duck under it? Why can't I just go under it?
See,
Why? Why?
sometimes they're okay.
I, I, I,
Sometimes.
I, I just then it's like, oh no, you failed to hit it. Oh, she smacked her head on the rock. Oh no, what a shame. Let me just replay that again. You got to tap W. Like I don't see that fun gameplay. It just
Well,
interrupts the whole
I don't
thing.
mind it as long as it's not really tricky to do. If it's really tricky to hit and they don't give you much of a window, and you see that stupid cutscene play like 8 times in a row, then you start getting really mad. It's like, oh, for Christ's sakes, what is the point in this? Yeah, that's when it
that
gets
dancing
annoying.
game where you've got to hit your foot exactly right on the arrow at the exact right time. Like if a game ends up doing quick time events like that where you have to press X, then you have to press something else, and then you have to press something else. Like Monster Hunter, right? When you go underneath its throat or something, and then you get that point where that like split second where you can like jump on its back
Mm-hmm.
and attack it. Like,
Yeah.
but if that just constantly happens, where you've only got like a split second to actually react
Yeah.
to it,
Well, Rax and Raven just said there, QuickTime events can be good if well done. Sadly, it is rare. I agree, but I've just thought of a good example. So, on the flip side of what we were just saying there, if it's too hard, it's bad because you see yourself die over and over again, you get really angry. If it's too easy, like some of Telltale's games recently, I actually played some Telltale's games when I didn't even press the button on purpose, and it claimed I did. You know, like in a Batman or whatever, and it comes up and it's like square, and you see Batman's about to batarang someone, and then he does this, and then the buttons will come up on the screen. I think it was like the latest Batman I played, episode 1 and 2 or something, and then I just gave up because I just thought there's no point in this game. It's exactly what that other developer was saying. The game was playing itself. I remember purposely wanting to see Batman die, and I didn't press the button, and it acted as if I did. No lie.
Really?
It actually
anyway.
counted as a success, and I didn't even press the button. And I was like,
just
come on, what is the point of even showing me to press the button then? So that's obviously going too much in the other direction. And when, like that developer said, the game is literally playing itself. What's the point? But one example I will say is Yakuza 6 again. They do something similar to a quick time event that does feel really good. And what it is when you have this heat gauge, and when you use heat, and the enemies have heat as well, they glow red and you glow blue. And when you're in this mode, you can pull off special moves. So if you keep pressing square, which is a normal punch, and you connect those punches, and I think you've got to do like 8 in a row, successful punches in a row. So you've got to make sure they don't block any of those 8 punches, and make sure you don't miss any of those 8 punches with your aiming. And if you successfully land 8 punches in a row, it will, I think it's RNG as well, it will go through like 2 stages of button pressing, like QTE things. The first one will be like a tap rapidly square, and the faster you tap it, the more like he hits them. But then they do something interesting, because you're already in that in the place of tapping it square as fast as you can. Then it will suddenly flash up, I want you to do square now triangle, now circle, square, triangle, and circle, and it's like about that speed as well. And because you've got to be looking out for that change and stop your massive, your frantic button pressing, and hit that square once and then move on to, it's easy to mess it up. And then as soon as you make a mistake, it cancels it out, and he doesn't do this like super move. But every time I was starting to get the hang of that, and as I was doing it, it makes you feel like a badass, as you like, because you're like, all right, I want to do it. So you start off with your square, square, and then you're like, am I going to get to stage 2? Then you're like, all right, I've hit stage 2. Now I'm, and then you're thinking, right, this is the final stage, if I can land this. And then as if you manage to land it, boom, square, boom, triangle, boom, and then you're like, yes, I'm doing it. And you can feel it building up, and then he does it, and you're like, yes, and you just feel like a badass. That's when I think they've done it right. Yeah, I think that's exactly how it should be.
As the guy doesn't die before you get to that point, the amount of times you punched him.
Yeah, or how they did it in Heavy Rain, where you can fail them without having to restart, but they will just change things about the game, like having a character look really beat up at the end of the game.
I think that's a good way of having it. I can't think of any games where they've done that.
Yeah, the Heavy Rain, they did a lot of weird stuff like that.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it allows you to do that kind of extra thing, and if you want to go that way, then fine. But if you fail it or you don't want to do it, then it doesn't exactly revert you. Like the reason why the quantum thingy, what's that?
Quantum Break. Oh yeah,
yeah.
you played that, didn't you? What did you think of it?
Yeah, like I played a little while of Quantum Break because I watched it too. I was like, I've determined last night. I was like, right, I'm going to get past the point at which I got stuck at last time, and I'm gonna finish this game. I watched a tutorial on how to beat this mech warrior dude, and I don't know why. I beat him in like 3 minutes. I don't know why I made such a fuss about him in the past, but I've literally sat there for 20 minutes or more shooting this damn guy repeatedly, and he doesn't die. All I had to do was like, you have two things. You can like set up like a time warp around your own body, and then you can zap the person with a time warp. Basically, all I had to do was zap him with a time warp bubble, so he's frozen. Then press W really quickly, and it hold Shift quickly, and it, instead of you walking from here like this, like really slowly, it will like jump you. Like I don't know, so you're going faster than time. I don't know what you call that. And
yeah, there's like some time shift thing, wasn't there?
Back and then shoot his back loads, and I did that 3 times, and it killed him. So it was really weird. And then the moment after that, there was a giant what is it? I don't know what you call it. A giant transport ship which crashes into the bridge, and then the time warp is going all bonkers and stuff. But one of the moments where you're trying to get from one end of the my words preparing today. One end of the bridge to the other, you have to jump over this glitching car that's like going, and it's in a completely random order.
Yeah.
So basically, there's a bridge, and then it's a glitching car, and then it's where you're standing. So you have to time it so that you jump onto the glitching car, and then jump to the end, right? But it glitches away. But if it moves and you're standing on the vehicle, then you're just going to fall to your death. But because it's random, I can't calculate when it's going to glitch.
Yeah,
it's random, or at least I sat there for like 3 minutes and just constantly watched it, and I didn't see a pattern to it at all.
Yeah, no,
so
I think you're right.
Every time I go to jump onto the car to get to the other side, it just kills me because I just fall out, and I literally spent like 15 minutes going, and then I just rage quit. I was just like, no, this is stupid, and just Alt F4, quit the game.
Yeah, I had to force myself to finish that game. So when I played that game,
so bad. Like I like the film part of it, where you can the storyline seems to be really good.
Yeah,
you get the cool action videography and stuff.
Yeah, except the video is online, and when I watched the cutscenes, it was just buffering all over the place, and it wouldn't play smoothly, and I was like, oh my god. Why?
Yeah, you can't pause it either, so you can't pause it and wait 5 minutes. It just runs.
That was the biggest disappointment of that year. That was like worse than No Man's Sky for me in terms of disappointment.
Yeah.
Because at the time that game came out, my best friend at my last job, who was also into games very much, he was very much an Xbox. Like he had an Xbox and I had the PlayStation. And it was around the time that Quantum Break was coming out that I was like, you know what, I'm really thinking of getting an Xbox. Tomb Raider hadn't come out on PlayStation yet. It was still an Xbox exclusive, and I so wanted to play it, and I just kept looking for like a cheap Xbox, and I found an X catalog one for a really decent price. Quantum Break was coming out, and I thought it looked fantastic, and I was like, right, and I know there's a few other exclusives. I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to get an Xbox. I can lend games off him, and you know, check them out. Decide if I want to buy them or not. So I had this great idea that it was going to be so good, and he lent me Quantum Break as one of the first games. I think it was the first game I ever played on my Xbox One, and it started out looking reasonably promising, but then I just started seeing just how, you know, frustrating the mechanics were, and just how technically it was failing. I could see what it was trying to do, but it was just, by the end of the game, I forced myself to finish the game because I just was reluctantly, do you know what I mean? It was like, well, you know, I looked forward to it for so long, and my friends lent it to me, and I want to give him it back. It was one of those games where I was like, I want to finish this game just so I can stop playing it and say,
that's why
I wasn't enjoying it anymore.
I just want to shelve it and forget about it.
Yeah, it's like it was almost like, you know, eating a bowl of Brussels sprouts just because you've been forced to do it, and not because you know, oh yeah, jelly and ice cream.
You want to eat them more, so you don't have to eat them anymore. Not because you don't want to eat
so
them.
I can move back onto the jelly and ice cream. It was just like,
and then they done more on your plate, and you're like, crap.
Yeah. So I don't know. I wanted to like that game, but it just
it had so much promise at the beginning. Like the first like 2 acts, I think, were quite good, and like going through the
the first bits were quite good.
Sciencey stuff, quite cool. But then the moment I got to the 3rd act, where you start walking across this bridge and getting this big mech warrior that I don't know why it took me so long to kill him, and now this just frustrating glitchy car thing. It's like how difficult is it to put in a game? Like, okay, I understand this glitching car, right? But why not do it where it glitches and then it goes over there, and then it resets. It glitches and it goes over there. It glitches and it goes over there. Not glitches, goes there, switches back. Like completely random.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, what I found about that game as well is it was very unforgiving, and it was very much, you will play this game in this exact way that we want you to. You know, like I remember one level that was irritating the hell out of me, and you had to walk through all these. I think there was like fires or destruction all around you. Basically, it was like a find the safe path, and if you went the wrong way, boom, you reset and you were back at the beginning. You won't have gotten to this bit yet, but it was so irritating, and I was like, oh my god, I don't know where I'm supposed to be going. There was just shit everywhere, you know, like, and I'm like, well, am I supposed to go up this ramp? And all you could really do is every time you got a little bit further, if you went the wrong way, boom, you had to start all the way back at the beginning. And I was like, this isn't fun. I was like, you know what I mean? And it's not obvious where I'm supposed to go. And it's like, why aren't there more than one way to, you know, why can't I play this game however I want? Why is it like almost like it was on rails, but it wasn't putting you on rails? Like it was saying, these are the rails that you must follow. And if you stray, boom, reset and you start again. And I was like, oh my God, this is horrible.
Yeah, the other thing was annoying is that where this game saves at least when I was playing earlier, like when I was doing the mech game, every time you die, it resets you just before the cutscene, so you have to watch like 3 minutes of cutscene before you get to try again.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I get it, right? You maybe you just come back from a save game, you want to watch the cutscene, but if it's you just die, you shouldn't have to be forced to watch the same cutscene over and over again.
Yeah.
Like,
no, you should.
Like, a lot of games, they just spawn you right there in front of the guy, like a big, like whoever the main character is. You don't have the whole, like, I don't know, thing coming out of a shell and the cars being thrown. You don't need that. It just makes the whole situation just more annoying.
Yeah, it's exactly what Raxon says. It sounds like a game.
Look at it. Like, that's what I felt like last night. I was like, right, I literally just went, oh, F4, I'm done with this game.
Yeah, it's the kind of game that makes you want to throw your controller at the wall. It's like, oh my god, who comes up with this? I was screaming, you know what I mean? Doesn't anybody play test this? Like, who played this and didn't say, you know what I mean? Because if Microsoft sat me in a room and said, oh, here's our new game, tell us what you think. And I was playing that section, I wouldn't even get to the section before I'd be like at that guy's throat saying, fix this, what are you thinking? Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, who in their right mind wouldn't be throttling you and saying, my god, what are you thinking? Who's this game for?
Testers that would have had to test this game. Their lives must have been the most frustrating experience ever.
Yeah. So wow, I don't know. But I mean, I like the idea. Like I say, I just think they went about it all wrong. I think they were trying to like be a bit like Naughty Dog or something. I don't know. I feel like they were trying to do something cool and just failed on every level.
Yeah.
You know? But never mind.
Frustrating.
One other game I have, well, I haven't it's not really a game. Well, it is and it isn't.
What's that?
So there was a demo of Detroit Become Human, which is the latest David Finch game. Quantum, not Quantum. It's because I've got Quantum Break on this. No, hang on. Who is it? Oh my god, it's gone from my brain. I thought it would actually tell me in here. Anyway, Detroit, is it Quantum? What the hell do they call them? And Skit always failed at killing the girl. Oh god, yeah, we're talking about Detroit becoming human again. I was thinking, what, killing girl? Yeah, so okay, so basically, Detroit Become Human is the latest game. Oh my god, why is it gone from my brain? The name of these guys. It's because we've just done Quantum Break and it's confusing me. Quantic Dreams. That's why, because it's so similar. Quantic Dreams. That's what Quantum. Yeah, so it's
shut up.
So Quantic Dreams. They're a second-party studio, which means they only make games for Sony, and they are mainly tech demos because they also make gaming technology for developers. So when they made Heavy Rain, it was really to showcase their new motion capture system. And when they made the one with Ellen Page in, which was Beyond Two Souls, which was terrible, by the way, it was to showcase their new face scanning technology so they could have real actors in games. So I don't know whether this game is showcasing a new piece of technology, but I wouldn't be surprised if it is. But it definitely has both of those in it, you know, great motion capture and great, you know, real life actors in it and stuff. So this game is about androids living in the future, and they're always like moral quandary games, you know. So you get to play as this guy here, who is an android sort of hostage negotiation police officer type thing, and he discovers that an android has gone rogue in this loving little family household, and you got to try and investigate. So you'll see here, you can look at the family photo, you can inspect dead bodies and do scans. So it's a little bit of Batman detective thing going on. This thing is coming out in May, I want to say. I think it's May next month.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
Oh my god, I love Quantic Dreams games. Even Beyond Two Souls, I actually bought it twice and played it twice, but I did hate. I wouldn't say I hated that game. I wanted it to be more like Heavy Rain and less like a jumbled mess of stuff that just felt like it had been stitched together and didn't make any sense. But there you have it. Yeah. But I still enjoy that. I enjoy what they're trying to do, making an interactive movie experience, which is great. And I'm not a big fan of Ellen Page, so maybe that's why I didn't really like it. But this game looks promising. It looks like it might get more of what Heavy Rain got right and less of what Beyond Two Souls got wrong. So in the short demo, you play this little storyline where you're an android investigating this household where basically an android has gone rogue and murdered the family, and he's took hostage of the little girl, the little daughter, and he's on the roof and he's about to jump with the girl. You've got to your objective is basically to try and save the girl. Now, in my little playthrough, I nailed it the first time around, but then I realized after like second and third playthrough that it's actually pretty difficult to have that girl killed, that you've got to really fuck up. So I think it's just the way it's been, you know, designed. But yeah, you discover all kinds of things, like the android was being replaced with what I call the sex robot, because he was basically getting replaced with a newer model, and she looked like a rather fit looking young female. So I was like, oh my god, he's being replaced by a sex robot. But
you're gonna like those live action scenes, aren't you?
Yeah, so it was great. I mean, it's a beautiful game. The graphics are great. Acting, you know, it's still a Quantic Dreams game, but you know, I don't know. It just interests me.
The graphics look really good.
Oh yeah, like movie quality graphics as always from these guys. Fantastic camera angles. Yeah, it's definitely my bag. I'm all about this game. I can't wait for it. And you know, definitely different outcomes based on your choices. So, you know, you got a little bit of that Telltale sort of thing where, you know, but your branching things do actually make a difference. They always try to be very emotional, you know what I mean? I mean, you got this little girl, you know, with tears in her eyes, and the android's going frantic, and there's dead bodies everywhere, and you know, there's that whole heart-wrenching, you know, oh my god, you know, to get you invested in that moment. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. From what I played of the demo.
Detroit Become Human.
Yeah, Detroit Become Human. So it's only going to be on PS4.
What? No PC.
No PC. I told you they're a second-party studio, so they only work for Sony.
Oh, I'm gonna have to come around your house and play it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, David Cage game. Is that what I said, or did I say something else? I did say David Cage. Yeah, because I was calling Quantic Dreams Quantum as well because of Quantum Break. So I might be losing my mind. But
Yeah, it
yeah,
looks so
oh, it's just,
good.
and this is even a theme, I love these kind of like android, I mean, near automata and anything like that. I love this whole like robotic future, I don't know, futuristic
Have you
stuff. I
seen that
love it.
film? I can't remember what its name of it is, but it's a film where one guy creates a robot and it's a
Mm.
female. It's a female robot,
I have
and
seen a few films like that.
there's loads and loads of different versions of her, and they keep killing every version off, and then one of them becomes aware of the situation that she's in, manipulates the person who's there to work on her, and then ends up escaping with him.
I think
Can't
you're
remember what it's called.
talking. I think you're a little mixed up. I think you're talking about the film I have seen. What the heck was it called? It was really good.
It's like this really fit robot thing.
Yeah, there was. I think you're talking about. I can't remember what the hell it was called.
I enjoyed films. I just typed that in.
It was a guy comes in. The one I saw, a guy comes in to like help. He's basically like a Steve Jobs, and a guy comes in to do like the what do they call it? The Turing test, where they've got to try and figure it. Like, would you be able to tell that this is a robot, like artificial intelligence, or would you think it was really human? Like you say,
Yeah,
she's
and the place that
this
lives
really
out in the middle
fit,
of nowhere.
this really fit robot, and she basically tries to use him to escape, but he sort of falls for her and sort of tries to help her, and like, yeah, that's basically what happens. But she ends up double crossing him at the end, and turns out she'd sort of used him and shit. It was pretty good. I really liked it. I've actually watched that film twice because I liked it so much. Yeah, but he doesn't.
No.
Oh yeah, you're kind of right in a way. He does kind of keep killing her, but he doesn't really keep killing her. He just keeps like building a newer version of her each time.
Yeah, but then when you see there was one area where there were loads of them up against the wall, but they were all dead. They were like previous versions, like Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know if I remember that. Yeah.
I can't. Maybe I'm getting confused with a different film, but I don't think so.
Maybe.
But then she found, because when she got shot by him, she went into that room to find a replacement thing. I can't remember what it was, and then she pulled out something. And
wasn't it called Eva? EVA. Eva. I'm pretty sure it was, or Eve, something like that. I'm sure it was. Let me have a look. But yeah, I love shit like that. I'm so into it. Oh my god, I'll tell you what you really need to watch as well if you like anything like that. Did you ever see Humans, the British version? A show called Humans? Hello?
Oh, I found the film. X Machine?
No.
Wait, say again? What?
Right, did you ever watch Humans?
What's that about?
TV show. Well, did either yes or no? Did you watch it? TV show called Humans.
Know.
Right. No, right. Hang on. Well, Humans was based on a Swedish show, I think it was, called Real Humans. But in Britain, we made our version of it. So I found Humans first, because it was all over on TV here and everything, and people kept talking about it. So I watched it, and I thought it was quite good. But then when I started reading about it, when I read it was based on the Swedish version called Real Humans, I was curious, so I actually managed to find the Swedish version, and I watched the Swedish version with English subtitles, and oh my god, what a fucking show that was. We watered it down to fuck. We butchered that show. I mean, our show wasn't bad. Our version wasn't bad, to be fair. But that original Swedish version of Real Humans, oh my god, what a show. Sadly,
they did a remake on it and messed the film up.
Sadly, they didn't mess it up, but you could tell, you know what I mean? It was so much better, the original Swedish version, and it was so much grittier, and like it dared to go places that like Britain didn't with our version. We really watered the shit, watered it down, and we Britishized it a little bit too much.
Yeah,
but the Swedes were like, they're pulling no punches. They really went to town on it, and it was great. It was great. Yeah, Real Humans, watch it. But they only made 2 seasons, and then sadly there was talk of a 3rd season, and then it was confirmed that there wasn't ever going to be a 3rd season. And I was surprised because it was really successful in Sweden, and obviously it was so big and successful that it inspired a British spin-off. So I was like, why not? Why do all my favorite shows, and this always happens to me, my favorite shows, Dark Angel made it to 2 seasons and then got axed. All my favorite shows get axed. Believe, that was another show that I really liked, about the psychic girl. That got axed after 1 season.
That was the best science show ever.
All my favorite shows get axed, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I found out the name of that film called Ex Machina.
Ex Machina.
What?
Ex Machina it is.
Oh,
yeah, it's pronounced Machina because it's I think it's, is it? Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that is the one. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. There was also one called Eva or Eva. Or
and then I just saw one part of it where you see the guy uses one of them as a sex robot.
Yeah, he's got like a Asian. I don't know if
she's really creepy. Then she starts peeling off her face.
Yeah,
that's really.
I probably should stop googling this. I'm gonna get some weird shit. Mind it's on YouTube. It shouldn't be too hard. But Real Humans was great. My favorite band makes music themed around Cyberpunk 2. If you're into synth pop, yeah. Which band is that? I probably would be really into synth pop, but I just haven't heard too much of it. They also tell a big story over all of their albums. From the Latin Deus Ex Machina, God in the Machine. I like that. So that's what Deus Ex means as well. God. Amazing. We're learning so much tonight. Thank you, Axon Raven. Teach us.
He is very knowledgeable, my friend.
Teach us, master. Arigato. Yeah.
Shall we talk about this amazing space thing that happens? Space news.
Right, you can do that because I'm gonna make a cigarette. So let me just get your you all set up here.
You have to be here.
Ooh, what?
You can't leave.
No, I'm just I'm sat in my seat making a cigarette. I'm not going
anywhere.
Oh,
I thought you were like, I'm gonna go have a cigarette where you talk about space.
No, I'll have a cigarette here. I don't care.
Okay, so you need to I wrote down a link and I need you to.
Oh God, you need me to do stuff? What do you want?
Oh, I can't put links on the damn thing.
I know, I banned it. I've blocked links.
Can you undo that? Because it's so frustrating.
Do you know how hard that is? I can't. Not right now. I can't. Can you?
How do I send a link to you then? Because you need
to
look up this
just tell me what to type. Well, do tiny CC. Is it really long? Is it a long link?
Yeah.
Okay. Go to tinycc.com. No, tiny.cc. And the band is called, and then Rax has been moderated as well. Oh, yeah, I think he's tried to... Yeah, it looks like you're...
Okay, I got it.
Whatever the band's called, it looks like it's being moderated out, Rax, for some reason. The band's probably called...
The link is tiny.cc.
Hang on, I've lost my mouse. There it is. So you've made a link for me, yeah? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tiny.cc / and then TYG 7SY.
And I've got YouTube.
Yeah.
Bezos Blue Origin launch and the Land of New Shepard.
Yeah, so we'll run this in the background while we're talking about it.
Okay.
Because this is the launch only takes 7 minutes.
While you're talking about it.
Yeah, while we discuss.
Mind in a box.
Right, so Blue Origin is a company that's created and looked after by the richest guy on the planet. I've forgotten his name, but Mr. Bezos. He owns like Amazon, and a whole bunch of other different companies bought off PayPal.
Richie Rich.
Richie Rich, like multi-billionaire, like real super rich person. And
Richard Kaching.
Yes. So okay. What he wanted to do was he wanted to bring space to the people who are willing to pay for it. So space tourism. So he's been building a rocket. Yeah, but you can't afford it. Afford it.
Still blocked. I can see Mind in a Box, but all spaces in Mind in a Box are supposed to be dots. Mind.in. Oh, maybe it thinks you're trying to post a link. Okay. So mind.in.box. Interesting that this gets blocked. Yeah. I'm actually going to change my chat moderation to one I can customize called MooBot. I keep meaning to install it.
I like to get a post link.
But I still want to block people from putting links, otherwise when we, get Maybe there's a way
Okay,
to let
so
certain people
so,
post
so
links.
the Blue Origin rocket.
Yeah, it looks like a
Um,
giant penis.
Yeah, okay. Everybody
It
makes a
does.
joke
Yeah.
about the shape of the actual rocket itself,
Hmm.
but it's only it's kind of like SpaceX ones where it like comes up and then the second
So,
stage lands back
so,
on Earth
so a
again.
rich guy wants to send people to the moon in his giant dick, basically.
It doesn't go to the moon. It goes up to the Kármán line and comes back again.
Ooh,
It comes back to the Kármán line.
who's the
Kármán
Kármán line?
is
Who's
the
Kármán
Kármán line
line?
is the universally recognized edge of space. So
So you
it's
don't
like
even go into outer space. You just go to the edge and then come back.
you go slightly over the edge. But the moment the engine's shut off, you're waiting. That's the whole point.
Boring. You don't even go into outer space.
Yeah, you know,
That's
not really.
bullshit.
Kind of. Yeah, you do, but
Not really.
only for the actual. Basically, the whole length of this rocket here, you're in space you're floating for about 3.5 minutes. So you're paying like $250,000 for like 3.5 minutes.
That's
of waiting.
exactly like getting a lap dance. Like, you know what I mean? You're getting a little bit of a, but you're not really getting anything, and you're paying a lot of money for it. That's Space's version of a lap dance.
I guess, yeah. That's a
Yeah,
good point.
bullshit.
But the whole point of this rocket is
Bullshit.
that the top part detaches. And we'll see that in a moment on the video.
If I'm getting my space lap dance, I want to go deep. You know what I'm saying? Deep into outer space.
The top part detaches.
Deep into the black void.
Excuse me, I'm talking.
I'm sorry. I'm
Cool.
sorry.
So the top part, basically, it launches up to, it'll say 130,000 feet.
I'm sorry, he's put Austin Power. You've seen that bit, haven't you?
Yeah, I've seen
Johnson.
Yeah.
It just made me laugh. I'm sorry, carry on. Go on.
Okay, yeah, I'd rather visit space for a few minutes, exactly, right? So this is the 8th launch of the Blue Origin rocket.
Okay.
They're gonna planning on doing 2 more launches before putting humans on it. This is the first one with full scale windows and all of that kind of thing. So they made a few improvements. Thankfully, it's actually got windows, which is quite helpful. And it's got a you should see in the video there in a minute. But the thing will separate, right? The top part and the bottom part just separates, right? The bottom part comes down retro thrusters and comes back and lands on the launch, like just close to the launch pad. And then the second part lands with parachutes and then like slows down to like 16 miles an hour and then fires these little retro thrusters right at the bottom and touches down at like 1 mile an hour, so you're nice and safe. But it carries about 6 people. At the moment in that particular video, this launched about 2 days ago. It's got a fake person called Anakin. No, Anakin. What is it? Something Skywalker. I can't remember what it is. I think it's Anakin Skywalker. Yeah. And that's the name of the person in there. And they've got a bunch of science experiments and stuff for people that want to test like high G forces on their little rockets. They normally test these on monkeys.
You haven't read the comment before, have you?
No humans on the rocket yet, but we can still put jam in it there. Hey. Yeah, no humans on it yet. Not yet. I think
so you'll be going up with the monkeys to test it. Animal testing.
NASA.
Actually, you got called a dog today, didn't you, by a customer?
Anyway, right? Legally, NASA says that you need to launch at least 9 launches of a rocket without changing the type of rocket that it is before you can put humans on it. So they need to launch, once they've got their final version, they need to launch 9 of them up and down
successfully
before you can put humans on it. So yeah, but yeah, it's quite an important launch because there's only 2 more launches away before they start doing human trials with like test people. You can't put paying customers on the top of it until we don't know. So 2 more hopefully, and they'll be able to put some people on the top of it. But the whole point of Blue Origin is that they're trying to get space tourism up in the air. But most of the thing that they're working towards is a rocket called the New Glenn, and it's a rocket that's like the size of the Saturn V rocket, so like much bigger than the rocket that they're launching in the video, and it's basically to. Okay, Alexa.
What was that?
That was Alexa just telling me that I don't know how to help you with that.
Oh, okay. I think we should all have a whip around and try and get you on that thing. You could do a live stream.
Could do a live stream from
that
it,
would
yeah,
be good.
absolutely.
Right, everybody.
But yeah, the new Glen
Max, we'll have a whip around. How much do they want again?
I think it's like 250,000. I think.
Pound? Dollars?
I don't know. That's a random number I just plucked out of my
Yen?
head.
It's yen. That's
They
not
haven't
much.
released it, but I'm pretty sure that's around the amount that they're looking for.
We'll talk them down. We're celebrities. We'll be all right.
We'll talk them down. What's it, like £10 is what we're willing to pay to risk our lives?
Well, you'll get a mention. You'll get a free ad on our stream. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's quite fun because the new Glen rocket is going to be taking tourists around the moon.
I think if you've got that much money to waste on something like that,
2020.
then I don't know. There's so much better things you could do with your money, but whatever.
Guess what
Each
the
to their
best
own.
bonus is? If you pay right now to go on that rocket,
Mm-hmm.
you get first dibs on the new rocket that they're building in 2020.
You still have to pay for it though.
Yeah.
Wow. We'll let you buy our next product.
I love how when you watch the live stream, they literally say, "Oh, if you book now, you'll also get first dibs on the new Glen rocket," and you're like, "Okay, so you're charging 250 grand to go in, like, not even into space. How much are you gonna pay to go around the whole moon and back?"
That's genius marketing. That. So I'm gonna start doing that for the streams. I'm gonna be like, right, everybody, watch the stream tonight, and then we'll let you know when we're streaming next, so you can watch the stream after that. It's a deal. It's such a deal.
Yeah.
Great.
But yeah, you see in the video the landing legs and stuff coming down. But basically, the dish on the round thing on the top acts as the fins, and it helps guide it back to the launch. Like the.
How long does the whole journey take then?
Well, you're watching it. That's it. That's not a test. That's what they're gonna do.
12 minutes.
7 minutes. Yeah, but it's about 7 minutes for the whole flight. Or 8 minutes for the whole flight, really. No, 7 minutes and 10 seconds or however long. You'll see it land. I think you've already probably seen it land. Yeah. Yeah. And it's a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. It's quite expensive.
Yeah.
You only get 3.5 minutes of weightlessness because half of the time is launching up. The moment those engines cut off, you're free falling. So you're basically launching. But they have 2 days before they launch to do. They go through abort training, vehicle training, so they know what it is that they're flying in, how it works, orbital training, and like emergent management training, and then G-force testing.
You're gonna have to do 8 weeks of training to do a 12-minute rocket ride.
So there's 2 days. You have to do 2 days, and then the second day they teach you how to fly around and make the most in 0G.
Make the most of 0G.
If you just get floating, you're probably going to start going.
You can lose weight in 0G. You know, it's a great way to lose weight.
Kind of. Well, I don't really. Yeah, possibly. And bone loss. You know, not to mention you can't stand up when you get back onto the ground. Yeah. But yeah, you see the little pod, and it like deploys its little parachutes, and it goes, and then in a minute you'll see they deployed the parachutes, and then you'll see it'll go poof, and then you'll see this little puff of explosively dusty thing. When it like goes from 16 miles an hour, you'll see the speed on there, and then it'll go poof. Can we just go there and try to convince them that we only want to put some preserved food on the rocket for aliens to find? They don't have to know what jam we're talking about. I love it. That's the best.
Well, congratulations, you've managed to depress me once again.
Me?
Yeah.
What?
It's
What do you think about like a human trace? Would you do it?
No.
You wouldn't.
No.
Wouldn't stick yourself on a rocket.
No.
Even if you're like a multi-millionaire.
No. Especially if I was a multi-millionaire, I'd be investing that money in something sensible.
Okay, what if you're a billionaire?
Even if I was a billionaire, I just don't. No.
You wouldn't want to be weightless.
No.
I guess it's kind of like, have you ever done that thing where you're floating on air? Like they have a big rotor and then you're floating around. I bet it's like that. A wind tunnel type thing.
It sounds like a hell of a lot of hassle and all this training. I don't think it's going to be comfortable. I mean, I don't like roller coasters. I don't like heights.
3Gs.
I do like flying in airplanes, though.
3Gs on the launch.
But I don't think I'd enjoy that.
6Gs is a space shuttle taking off. So it's a lot less than that. I don't know what is equivalent to 3Gs. I know I went on a roller coaster ride that was 6Gs. And that was pretty powerful. You're like, ugh.
Well, did you see the difference between
the
you and I?
landing. Oh my word.
You'd never get me on a roller coaster.
When you see that drone footage of the thing landing, and you just see that little puff of smoke. There we go. And I know my sound's not going to be there. Oh, little puff of smoke. Oh, it's so good. The drone footage is perfect. And
Well,
apparently, like all of the scientists and stuff, the moment it starts to land, they run over and they look at all their little experiments and stuff, and they all got excited about it.
well, I'm
Oh my word!
excited.
Everybody should look forward
Let's make excited
to
first.
Space News next week, because I'm
Really?
talking about the Insight Lander, which is launching on the 5th of March, or 5th in like 3 days time, and it's got my name on it.
And it's what?
It's got my name on it. Like I wrote a plaque, and it's got my name lasered into the rocket. My name. I got a certificate and everything.
Well, I'm pleased for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I like it. I'm done.
Well, okay. Thank you for that. Yeah. So that was Space Jam, everybody.
Quite brief.
Oh my god, it's the last day of April today. We're in. Oh my god, it's May. It's May tomorrow.
January, February, March, April, May. Oh my word! This year is going.
It's
so
ridiculous.
Fast. I think it's because we're just getting older, and then all of a sudden, like a year is going to go by in like 5 minutes. We're like, oh, now we're 80. No, 81. Oh wait, 82.
Thanks for depressing me even more than you did.
Now I'm dead. The time will travel differently for you than it will for me.
Well, thank you again.
But theoretically, though, if we both accelerated time the same amount, so if you get to like 20 years old and then 1 year feels like half a year, we're technically going to be. Do you celebrate 1st May in the UK? We celebrate May the 4th. Be with you. But
no, well,
May Day. Do we get the first
isn't
May
that
Day
is that May Day though? Don't we get a bank holiday or something? Isn't that next week though? Like the first Monday in May, isn't it? I think. And probably we'll be working.
I know probably we won't get it off because.
Yeah, probably we'll be working because
where
we work, we don't actually really get bank holidays. Yeah, May Day is a public holiday, usually celebrated on the 1st of May. It is an ancient Northern Hemisphere spring festival and a traditional spring holiday in many cultures. Dances, singing, and cake are usually a part of the festivities. Are you going to bake me a cake, Jam, for May Day?
Sure.
Yeah.
What would you like to have in your cake?
It's a holiday in Germany. I got to move to Germany.
Oh, well, I would say congratulations, Mr. Action Raven, on the 1st day of May. You have a lovely day, sir. I
think it is a bank holiday next Monday, though, because I was looking at booking in an engineer for a customer, and I noticed that Monday next week wasn't available as a day to book them in, and I was like, why is that Monday not available? And I thought, I bet it's a bank holiday.
Maybe we do have a bank holiday.
Yeah, I think we do, but we don't notice these things because we don't really have bank holidays where we work. Because it's like, hey,
no, I think we
screw you. You don't get a bank holiday.
If we work on a bank holiday, that we get a holiday like somewhere else in the year.
I don't think we do. I really don't think we do. I don't know. I'm told it's all.
I know if we're not working on it, we get paid for it.
I don't know. I don't care anymore.
Buster, come on, up you come. Right, say goodbye to people. Unless we're not finished. Are we finished yet?
Well, if you've got, are you all out of
I ran out of
discussions? You've run out of topics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. We've done well actually.
We've been going an hour and 45 minutes. So
I mean,
we need Hell's Fiction back. I miss her a lot.
Yeah, me too. But I have no idea what's going on, or if she's coming back, or I mean, I've been told technical difficulties, but I kind of get the feeling maybe she's just not into it anymore. So I don't know. I'll let you know as soon as I know, but I don't know.
She said that like her actual computer was broken, but I don't know.
Yeah.
First, say goodbye to the viewers. Hey, look at what's my hands. Oh, say hi to everybody. Oh, give me a high five. Yay! Good boy. What?
Okay.
I had a little freak out moment.
Yeah, bring back hell. We're trying, but I don't know what's going on. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We need to see if we can get some special guests in.
Yeah, I'm kind of working on that. I've just had such a crazy week this last week. I didn't get a chance, but I'm also going to be working on that very soon.
Really?
Yeah, didn't I tell you about it? I might not.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, you do remember. See, I was drinking, you weren't.
Things to look forward to this week. May Day, you know, the inside launch. Let me get you the exact date of the launch.
I don't care about the launch.
If you feel like, actually spending, a bit of, time watching, a rocket launch that's going to go all the way to Mars.
No.
It launches into... where's it going?
Hang on, there is one thing we keep forgetting to do. I'm just going to have a quick look through the release list.
4 days, 12 hours, 17 minutes, 51 seconds. But here's a big timer.
There isn't really a lot coming out. Yeah, okay.
You see it?
Yes, yeah, you're very sad. Mind Labyrinth VR
I'm not very
Dreams.
sad. I am an interested Scientologist.
Drive on Moscow. What's that?
Gonna be a spaceologist.
Comes out today. Drive on Moscow. New front opens up on consoles. It's an actual iPad-based historical. Oh, there you go. This is your idea. This is your idea of fun. An iPad-based historical strategy title, not a driving sim. You love that, probably. Drive on Moscow. Trains VR. You've got a VR, haven't you? Wouldn't you love that? Trains VR. Yeah. Don't really tell me anything. A new YouTube trailer. Trains VR.
Cool.
Let's have a look. Let me try and show you. Oh, there you go. It's right up your street. That was a revolution. Should we get these sound on? In 2018, it will be a revolution. It's like a kid's train set. But you can actually ride around in it.
That's hilarious.
That's pretty interesting. Kind of weird.
That's hilarious.
Oh, right. They're aiming at mobile VR as well, I think.
That's pretty funny.
Does anybody actually really play games on mobile VR, though? I don't know. I don't know anybody who actually does, that's the thing. Starship Corporation, Driver Moscow, Conan, Exiles. Funcom. Really? Funcom are actually pretty good developers. They made Dreamfall and Dreamfall Chapters. Well, they made Dreamfall. Longest Journey. But to be fair, they also made that game that we played online. I don't know if you remember it. What the heck was it called? I can't remember now. Do you remember where you could pick whether you were like which clan you were in? It was a while ago now. I don't know if you remember.
Why don't we get Rax and Raven to be a special guest?
Because then we won't have any viewers. That's the problem with that. I would like to have Rax and Raven as a special guest at some point, but Conex has been released. I wonder how that turned out. 27th of April. So that came out a while. So why is that on the upcoming release list? I don't understand. 8th of May it says here. Oh, PC, PS4 and Xbox One on the 8th of May. Yeah, there's not a whole lot coming out. Yeah, I would like for Rax and Raven to get involved in something that we do at some point, but yeah, we need viewers as well. That's the problem. That's our problem. Rax and Raven's our only dedicated viewer, and we love you for it, but
we do love you.
We won't have anybody viewing. That's the problem. Audium to the core. I don't know. A lot of these things.
Like a couple of weeks ago, we had quite a few people. I think it was because we stopped for like a week. Like everybody was like, "Oh, maybe they've given up."
I don't know. I don't think so.
We'll see.
I don't know. It was Hell's Fiction. Hell's Fiction was the only one bringing views in.
Yeah, she was the most exciting. Yeah, because it's a woman. You know? That's what brought in the female. You know.
Oh, Jurassic World Revolution, 12th of June.
Are you gonna watch that with me? Should we watch it together?
No, this is the game.
Oh, talking about the movie.
What, is there another? Oh, I'm not gonna. There's another Jurassic Park film.
That's what Jurassic World Evolution is. It's a movie.
It's not. It's a look. Jeff
Goldblum
plays part of the developers. There's a game coming out of it. The game looks actually quite interesting.
Jurassic World.
But I didn't care about any of the Jurassic Parks other than the very first one. And that's only because I was young enough to enjoy it when it came out. Anyway.
Jurassic World Evolution.
Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. What's interesting though is what do they call it? Detroit Become Human isn't even listed in this list, which is weird. Don't know why. I'm sure it's coming out in May. Let me just double check real quick.
Oh, sorry, no. The actual
25th of May
is Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. That's the film.
What?
The Jurassic film. The film is Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
that
care.
Was the trailer released in 20.
I just don't think it's that great of a film, but I like the concept, like in a game or something. Although they have made some terrible Jurassic Park games in the past, so I don't know how that'll turn out.
I bought the Lego version of the Jurassic World, and I've got to say, quite fun. You can ride around on a dinosaur. Boop, 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 boop. Kind of like a Tauntaun. You know, from Star Wars, you're like, oh, I'm a Tauntaun.
Maybe.
Have you seen Star Wars Chicken?
What?
Have you seen Star Wars Chicken?
Star Wars Chicken?
Yeah.
What is Star Wars Chicken? What the hell are you talking about?
Google it. Watch a video of Star Wars Chicken. Oh, actually, wait a minute. So
I can't spell today.
Star Wars Chicken, and then go Tauntaun. Tauntaun. I don't know how to spell Tauntaun.
You mean Taunton, as in the place around here?
No. Videos. Star Wars.
What do you mean?
Theck Chicken. Chicken. How do you spell chicken? Thick.
Chicken. What is this tauntaun word that you're talking about? I don't understand.
I am a.
I don't know what you're talking about. Robot Chicken, Star Wars.
Oh, there we go. Right. Type in. Oh, here we go. This is the best. Right, should I give you a thingy?
What are you showing me?
A link.
Go on then. Tiny.cc.
November Juliet Hotel 7 Sierra Yankee.
So today I'm going to show you how I created a professional and fine Wix website.
No, you're not, because I can already make a professional website. Thank you very much. What are you showing me?
You should watch it. It's hilarious. Do you have sound on there? You have to have sound.
Yeah, it's not very loud though. Why is my sound so quiet? I don't think it's set to come through the mixer. That must be because I had music play. I think it's just this video on YouTube that's really quiet. I don't know why. Yeah, also we were meant to be playing Starbound with Hell, and she did mention that, so maybe that's how we can bring her back into the fold. We should invite a Starbound.
She didn't even watch today. Didn't even watch us.
I don't know, she may have lost interest, I'm not sure. That's the feeling I get, but I don't know.
Did you like Star Wars Chicken?
Yeah.
I am a Tauntaun. Listen to my Tauntaun voice. Oh, actually, I shouldn't. Oh, I'm so sad.
You said it. Right, on that note, I think it's probably time.
Listen to my Tauntaun voice.
It's probably time to call it a night before.
Yeah, I think we're nearly at the 2-hour mark. I think we've done good.
Yeah, we have. I mean, considering neither of us have really played any games over the last week.
No, we
literally
haven't.
all I did last week was work. Oh my god, I finished 7 days in a
My
row.
arm is killing me.
And then I had a leaving party to go to, and then I literally just died all weekend. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, but did you end up leaving when I saw you last, or did you stay there?
No, I ended up staying out very late. It's very foolish of me, but I did. Yeah, that happened. So yeah. But you know,
I don't go out often,
so.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Okay, well,
Well, thank you, Rax and Raven, for
yes,
watching.
thank you so
And
much.
anybody else who in the future of our lives.
Yeah, anybody who's watching in the
When
future.
we'll become, super popular, everybody will come back at the stream and be like, "Oh my word, they only had like 200 views." Oh my word.
Seriously though, I mean it would be nice, but it's nice just that you come along. We really appreciate it, and it just makes this so much more worthwhile. So it's not just two idiots talking to themselves. It does make a difference. So thank you. Your support is very much appreciated as always. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Wait, Raxon asked for a stream.
Do we have a stream schedule for the week though? Tomorrow. What am I doing tomorrow? What is it tomorrow? Tuesday? Probably Yakuza. Because I want to know what's happening with Yakuza. And then Waifu Wednesday on Wednesday. There's 2 games I have in mind.
Maybe I can join you for Waifu Wednesday this time around.
Well, the problem is the 2 games that I could play for Waifu Wednesday are both on PS4. So I don't know how that would work. Unless you want to go and do the Ever 17 one that I was playing with Hells, we could do that. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But there's games we could play anyway, like,
Yeah, that's true. We can play golf again.
Yeah, we'll play anything.
13 viewers.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Rax, and we'll see you again soon.
Buster, say goodbye.
See you.
Bye, Buster. Say bye. No. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye. Where's my mouse pointer?